The history of Nepal begins far back in prehistory. Archaeological findings suggest that people were already living in the region of today's Nepal around 9,000 years before Christ. Between roughly 2,500 years before Christ and 500 years before Christ, early settlements developed in which agriculture, pottery, trade, and social structures emerged. In the 6th century before Christ, Hinduism spread in the region, while Buddhism gained strong influence in the 5th and 4th centuries before Christ. At this time, Nepal was closely connected to the religious and cultural developments in northern India, the homeland of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. Around 400 years after Christ, the Licchavi dynasty began its flourishing period, which lasted several centuries. It shaped art, architecture, trade, and religion, and turned the Kathmandu Valley into a cultural center. Many early temples, stupas, and inscriptions originate from this era. Beginning in the 13th century after Christ, the Malla kings rose to power. Under their rule, the three famous royal cities, Kathmandu, Bhaktapur, and Patan, took form. Cities known to this day for their palaces, pagodas, squares, and artistic heritage. This era is regarded as a cultural high point in Nepal's history. In the 18th century after Christ, the political unification of the many small Himalayan principalities began. King Prithvi Narayan Shah from the state of Gorkha gradually united the entire region, laying the foundation for modern Nepal. In the 19th century after Christ, the Rana dynasty emerged as the dominant force. It ruled Nepal for nearly 100 years as an authoritarian family regime. Nepal remained independent from colonial domination, unlike many neighboring regions, but the population suffered from oppression, poverty, and limited modernization. In the year 1951 after Christ, the Rana regime was overthrown. Nepal returned to being a constitutional monarchy, and political parties emerged. However, the king continued to hold great power. The year 1990 after Christ marked a decisive turning point. During the so-called People's Movement, broad segments of the population rose up. The authoritarian panchayat system was abolished, political parties were legalized, and a democratic constitution was introduced. But only a few years later, a civil war began. In the year 1996 after Christ, the Maoist rebel movement launched an uprising against the monarchy and the socially unjust conditions. The conflict lasted 10 years and caused many casualties. It ended in the year 2006 after Christ with a peace agreement. The monarchy lost its power and the parliament was reinstated. The Maoist fighters were integrated into the political process. The following years led to a historic turning point. In the year 2008 after Christ, the monarchy was officially abolished and Nepal was declared a federal democratic republic. For the first time in its history, Nepal no longer had a king. In the years that followed, the country worked on establishing a new state structure. After many debates, delays, and political conflicts, a new constitution was adopted on the 20th of September in the year 2015 after Christ. Nepal thereby became a secular federal state divided into several provinces. However, political conditions remained unstable. Since the end of the monarchy, Nepal has experienced numerous changes of government. Corruption, power struggles, and social tensions have made long-term development difficult. At the same time, dissatisfaction among many young people grew due to limited economic opportunities, high unemployment, and a lack of transparency. In the 20s of the 21st century, political and social conflicts intensified. Protests against corruption, inequality, and nepotism grew stronger. Especially in the year 2025 after Christ, large demonstrations erupted, triggered in part by restrictions on freedom of expression and by economic difficulties. Today, Nepal is a federal democratic republic shaped by cultural diversity, religious tradition, and the majestic heights of the Himalayas. While the country continues to face political instability and economic challenges, Nepal remains a place of deeply rooted history, vibrant culture, and extraordinary natural beauty.